Hello and welcome into the second video for lesson 8. This will be the sample problems for our law of cosines, our Heron's formula, our navigation problems. Again, this is for Precalculus 2. So let me share the document camera here. All right, so let's start off with pretty straightforward one like we did with the law of sines. So let's say we want to solve for x and round our answer to one decimal place. So let's say we're given this triangle, and this side is length 23. This one is length 46. The angle between them is 39 degrees, and we want to find x over here. So I have two sides in the included angle. That means law of cosines. So I'm not going to use law of sines here because I don't have enough. I don't even have enough information to do law of sines, right? Because I don't have a side opposite this angle. I don't have an angle opposite this side. I don't have an angle opposite this side. So I can't even use law of sines if I wanted to. If it's like, man, my favorite formula that I've ever learned is law of sines, that's great, but you can't use it here. When you have two sides and an included angle, you can only use law of cosines to get this side across. So we get what? X squared. And the key here, remember, is that this side has to match up with the angle across from it. So cosine of 39. And then the rest is I square both sides, add them together, and then subtract 2 times the sides times the cosine value. Sorry, it's kind of squished in there. So 23 squared plus 46 squared minus 2 times 23 times 46 times cosine of 39. Now, I want to warn you because a common mistake here is that this is what? This is x squared equals this whole value. And so people get so focused on, okay, let me do my calculations. And so they calculate all this stuff and they get an answer close to almost 1,000. So they actually even forget to write this and they get whatever, let's say 998.56, something like that. And they're like, okay, that's my answer. Well, does that even make sense? This side is 23. This side is 46. It's not possible for this side to be almost the length of 1,000, right? So be careful. This is not your final answer. You still need to take the square root, which means that x is 31.6 when you round it. This is like 998.5 something, whatever. So that's how you do your law of cosines. Again, kind of a simplistic example, but the key is how do you set it up? And then from there, it's some calculator work and be careful to take square root at the end. All right, what if we want to find the area of a triangle with sides A equals 8, B equals 10, and C equals 6. So I have 3 sides. I don't have an angle, so I can't use the first formula. I can only use Heron's formula. So first I need what? My value of S, which is 1/2 times add all of these sides. So I get 1/2 times 8 plus 10 is 18, plus 6 is 24. Half of that is 12. So the area is the square root of that value, 12, times, and then, so this is my S, S minus A, S minus B, S minus C. So 12 minus 8, 12 minus 10, 12 minus 6. And when you do all these calculate, and again, now it's a calculator problem, so I'm just going to kind of skip ahead. When you do all this, your answer should be 24. Next problem, our bearing and heading type of problem, our navigation problem. So we have two boats leave a port at the same time. Boat one travels north 50 degrees east at 30 miles per hour. Boat two travels south 70 degrees east at 34 miles per hour. How far apart are these boats in 1 hour? And let's round our answer to the nearest mile. So again, draw a picture, put our values in where we have them so we know. So the first boat is north 50 degrees east, so headed up here into quadrant one. And what did I scream at you guys in the content video? The angle must touch the y-axis. So the angle is 50. That has to touch the y-axis. Now, what is the length of this? Well, this boat was going what? 30 miles per hour. And how long did they go for? 1 hour. So if a boat is going 30 miles per hour, how far does it go in 1 hour? It goes 30 miles. If this said how far apart are they in 2 hours, I'd have to double it. If it said how far are they in half an hour, I'd have to take half of that value. So be careful how much time is being asked so that you know what to put on that side. The next boat is south 70 degrees east. So south is down, east is right. The 70 has to touch the y-axis. Why does he keep screaming this at us? Because it's important. How far did they go in 1 hour? Well, 34 miles an hour, so 34 miles. And what I want is the distance between these guys. Let's call it x. So to do this, this is a law of cosines problem. I need what? I need this angle right here. Let's mark it in red. Because I need what? The angle across from this side in order to be able to do law of cosines. So how can I figure this out? Well, I have two ways. A straight line is 180 degrees. So that y-axis forms 180 degrees. So I could do 180 minus this 50 minus this 70 is 60. So it's like, okay, this big angle is 60 degrees. The other thing I could do is I know quadrant one is a right angle. So if quadrant one is a right angle and 50 degrees is taken up here, a right angle is 90, meaning that the angle inside here at the top is 40 degrees. And similarly, I have a right angle down here in quadrant four. So if this is 70, it means I have 20 degrees left to get to the x-axis. And 40 plus 20 is still 60. So whichever way you calculate it is okay. It's up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable with, but you should get 60. So therefore we do what? Our side squared, x squared, is 30 squared plus 34 squared minus 2 times 30 times 34 times cosine of 60. So you plug this on your calculator, you round it to the nearest mile, and you should get that they are 32 miles apart. Well, that's that guy there. And then finally, so this is a law of cosines problem. You're not really going to see it in WebAssign, but you could see it on the final. It has shown up on the final in the past. So I just want to make sure that you understand what's being asked based on the wording, because sometimes the wording can get a little bit tricky. So I want to make sure you know what's going on. So we have the following. In a given triangle, now notice it does not say right triangle, so I can't use SOHCAHTOA. So in a given triangle ABC, side A is 8. Sorry, side A is 10. Sorry, side A is 10. Side B is 8. And side C is 6. Find cosine of B. Now, how many decimals does it say to round this to? It doesn't. Meaning what? I probably shouldn't use my calculator on this problem because I don't want a decimal answer. So put your calculator away because honestly, you should not need your calculator for this problem. But cosine of B, a triangle that's not a right triangle, that must be our law of cosines. And so because I'm looking for cosine of B, what needs to be on this side? Well, the side B. So B squared is A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times cosine of B, because that's what I'm looking for, this guy right here. So B is 8, so I have 8 squared. A is 10, so 10 squared, plus C, which is 6, 6 squared, and then minus 2 times A times C cosine of B. So now I have to solve for cosine of B. So I have 64 is 100 plus 36 minus 2 times 10 times 6 is 120 cosine of B. So combine these guys, I get 64 is 136 minus 120 cosine B. Be careful here. This is where people's algebra skills or lack of algebra skills gets them in trouble, because this is not 136 minus 120. This is 136 minus 120 times cosine of B. So I can't say, oh, this is 16 cosine of B. It's the same if I have like 3 plus 2x. This is not equal to 5x because there was no x on the 3 to start with. So there's no cosine here, so I can't combine the coefficients. So the only thing I can do next then is minus 136 from both sides to get negative 72 is negative 120 cosine of B. Divide by negative 120. And so simplify this guy, negative over negative is positive. If I divide both of these 12 by 12, I get 6 over 10 is cosine of B. And I can simplify this, divide them both by 2. I get 3 over 5 is cosine of B. You are done. What did this problem ask for? Cosine of B. So do not get out your calculator. Like I said, there's no need to even use your calculator on here and do cosine inverse, because that gives me what? That gives me B. I did not ask what is B. I asked what is cosine of B. And cosine of B is 3/5. That is your final answer. You are done. And coincidentally, we are done with this video. So that should give you enough. Like I said, this last problem isn't really on WebAssign. You're not going to see anything like that, but it does show up on tests, so you will be expected to know how to do that kind of problem. But otherwise, good luck on the mastery sets. we'll see you guys in class and we will see you on the lesson 9 videos.